Israel coalition government a threat to security, warns Netanyahu. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned that a proposed new unity government would be a danger for the security of the country. He urged right-wing politicians not to support a deal after ultra-nationalist leader Naftali Bennett said he would share power with a centrist party. Mr. Netanyahu's opponents have until Wednesday to form a government. To stay up to date with latest top stories, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the button above this video. If they are successful, it would bring to an end the rule of the country's longest-serving prime minister. Mr. Netanyahu, who is on trial for fraud, fell short of a decisive majority at a general election in March. It was the country's fourth inconclusive vote in 2 years, and again he failed to secure coalition allies. Don't form a left-wing government, such a government is a danger to Israel's security and future, the 71-year-old, who has been in power for 12 years and has dominated Israeli politics for a generation, said on Sunday. He did not elaborate. Mr. Netanyahu accused Mr. Bennett of misleading the public and of carrying out the fraud of the century, a reference to the Yamina party leader's previous public promises not to join forces with Mr. Lapid. Mr. Bennett, 49, earlier announced that his party would join talks to form a unity government in a televised address. Mr. Netanyahu is no longer trying to form a right-wing government because he knows full well that there isn't one. He is seeking to take the whole national camp and the whole country with him on his personal last stand, Mr. Bennett said. I will do everything to form a national unity government with my friend Yair Lapid. Before the announcement, Israeli media reported that under the proposed terms of the deal, Mr. Bennett would replace Mr. Netanyahu as prime minister and later give way to centrist leader Yair Lapid, 57, in a rotation agreement. The arrangement has not been officially confirmed. The proposed coalition would bring together factions from the right, the left and the center of Israeli politics. While the parties have little in common politically, they are united in their desire to see Mr. Netanyahu's time in office come to an end. Mr. Lapid, a former finance minister, was given until 2 June to form a new coalition government after Mr. Netanyahu failed to do so. His Yesh Atid party came second to Mr. Netanyahu's right-wing Likud at the last election. Mr. Bennett's party holds a crucial 6 seats in the 120-member parliament that would help give the proposed opposition coalition a clear majority. After an evening of high political drama on Sunday, Israel is much closer to a new coalition that will unseat its longtime prime minister. But Benjamin Netanyahu should not be written off. He was quick to respond to the latest announcement with his own appeal to right-wing members of Naftali Bennett's Yamina party and those of Gideon Saar's New Hope to not join the agreement. He taunted them by asking who will take care of settlements and suggested the proposed unity government would offer a weak security cabinet that would be unable to stand up to Israel's rival, Iran. If he chips away just a couple of members of parliament with these attacks, then the prospective government could tumble. And even if this coalition does get sworn in, it will be a fragile one, bringing together parties from across the political spectrum with stark ideological differences. To stay in power, it will be forced to kick many sensitive issues into the long grass. On Saturday night, Mr. Netanyahu's Likud party made an offer to Mr. Bennett and the leader of another potential coalition party to share the premiership in a 3-way split. However, his offer was rejected. But the prime minister repeated the same option on Sunday. Under Israel's electoral system of proportional representation, it is difficult for a single party to gain enough seats to form a government outright. Smaller parties are usually needed to make up the numbers needed for a coalition. Mr. Lapid was initially given a 28-day mandate to form a government, but this was interrupted by the recent 11-day conflict in Gaza. One of his potential coalition partners, the Arab Islamist Ram Party, broke off talks because of the violence. There were also clashes in Israeli cities between mixed Arab and Jewish populations.